Chapter 3. Hungry but Happy. The train trip from Paris took 3 days. Marie couldn't pay for a seat. She rode the whole way on a stool that she brought with her. The train car was so cold she kept herself wrapped in blankets. She barely had enough food to eat during the trip. It was just the first of many hardships that would soon be part of her everyday life. Marie didn't care though. She was happy to be finally fulfilling her dream. The Sorbonne was such a different kind of place. There were almost no rules. She could take whatever classes she wanted. She didn't have to attend class if she didn't feel like it. She could even choose whether or not to take tests. And best of all, the tuition was free. Living with Brania was not so much fun though. Brania and Kaz were both doctors. Their patients came to the apartment for treatment. The house was always crowded and noisy. Marie's trip to the Sorbonne every day was a very long one. She had to ride in the cold on the top deck of an open bus an hour each way. After 6 months, Marie moved out and rented her own place closer to the Sorbonne. Her apartment was a tiny single room on the top floor of an apartment building. She had no kitchen, so she did all of her cooking over an alcohol lamp. Her meals were skimpy, just bread with maybe a cup of hot chocolate, an egg, or fruit. One time, Marie was so hungry that she fainted while studying in the library. In winter, her room was so cold that water would freeze in a bowl. If she wanted heat, she had to buy coal and carry it up 6 flights of stairs. She couldn't always afford coal. Most of the time, she slept with all of her clothes piled on top of her to keep warm. It was a very hard time for a woman to live alone in Paris. Very few women went to college. When Marie entered the science department at the Sorbonne, there were 1,825 students, but only 23 of them were women. There were so few women studying in France that the French didn't even have a word for female student. The only word they had meant girlfriend of a student. Marie spoke French, but not very well at first. She had to work hard to understand French people and to make sure she pronounced words correctly. Still, Marie was happy. Years later, she called it one of the best memories of her life. She loved her classes and spent every waking minute studying. She didn't care about anything except science, and she was being taught by some of the most famous scientists in all of Europe. One of her professors, Gabriel Lippmann, would later win a Nobel Prize for inventing a way to make color photographs. After 3 years of hard work and constant study, Marie took her final exams in science. Only 2 women graduated that year. Marie was first in her whole class, ahead of all the men. Now that she was finished studying, Marie thought she would go home to Poland. She had promised her father to come back and take care of him. Then something lucky happened. She got a scholarship to stay another year. This time she would study math. Marie couldn't resist. Learning was the most satisfying thing she had ever done in her life. Why would she want to stop now?